Every year in Fortnite, there's one player who doesn't just win tournaments, but actually defines how the game is played.
Off me! Get off me! You're on me, get off me!
Get this out of my inventory!
During that time, and when you look back year by year, you could almost trace the entire evolution of Fortnite through a single name. This list shows who truly owned each year. In 2017, Fortnite was still brand new and completely unstructured, which meant the best player wasn't determined by trophies or final placements, but by who had the biggest influence on how many people played and watched the game. Ninja stood above everyone else because he combined high-level gameplay with non-stop action in a way nobody else was doing at the time. And his aggressive style, constant movement, and confidence made Fortnite exciting to watch when most people were still learning the basics. The Drake stream didn't just make Ninja famous, it pushed Fortnite into mainstream culture. And suddenly, millions of players were trying to copy his playstyle, his sensitivity, and even the way he talked, which is why 2017 will always be remembered as Ninja's year. But unfortunately, this didn't last long for Ninja, because by 2018, Fortnite started rewarding pure skill much more heavily, and this is where Tfue separated himself from the rest of the scene, because his mechanics, aim, and game sense were clearly ahead of their time. Whether it was Twitch rivals, early skirmishes, or pop-up cups, Tfue consistently dominated lobbies full of other top players. And what made him special was how calm and confident he looked while doing it. He turned high ground mechanics into an automatic win condition, made late game fights look effortless, and forced everyone else to realize that Fortnite was no longer just about entertainment, but about mastering mechanics and decision making at the highest level. 2019. The year of the first FNCS, and it is impossible to talk about without mentioning the Fortnite World Cup, because that single tournament completely changed the competitive scene, and Bugha delivered one of the most dominant performances esports has ever seen. Under the most pressure any Fortnite had ever faced up to that point, Bugha played with incredible composure, perfectly timed rotations, and flawless endgame execution, building an enormous points lead that made the finals feel decided before they were even over. What made his win so important wasn't just the money or the trophy, but the fact that it proved Fortnite could reward consistency and intelligence just as much as mechanics, setting the tone for competitive play going forward. In 2020, Fortnite shifted into a much more structured competitive Fortnite with FNCS, and this is where the 5-time FNCS winner, Tayson, truly emerged as the best player in the world, because of how consistently he performed across multiple seasons and metas. Playing in the most competitive region, Tayson showed incredible adaptability, always finding ways to secure strong and drop spots, manage storm surge, and survive chaotic endgames without relying on flashy plays. His dominance wasn't just about one highlight, but about week after week of smart decisions and top placements, which is why many people consider him the most reliable Fortnite player of 2020. By 2021, Fortnite had reached a point where fighting ability became just as important as strategy, and Miro was the perfect example of that balance because he combined elite mechanics with unshakable confidence and high pressure. Miro is the only controller player on this list, but he still performs against keyboard players just as well. Time and time again, he clutched endgames, won key fights, and showed up when FNCS titles were on the line, especially in North America, where competition was at its peak. What separated Miro from everyone else was his ability to take fights that other players would avoid and still come out on top, making 2021 feel like a year where he controlled the outcomes of tournaments through pure skill and composure. In 2022, my personal favorite year, competitive Fortnite became more refined and team-oriented, and Malibuca represented that evolution perfectly through disciplined gameplay, precise rotations, and incredible synergy with his teammates. Rather than relying on constant aggression, he focused on controlling space, managing resources, and positioning himself perfectly for endgame, which allowed him to consistently place at the top against stacked EU lobbies. His success showed that Fortnite had fully matured as an esport, where planning and teamwork could be just as deadly as raw mechanics. 2023 marked a shift back towards aggressive, fight-heavy gameplay, and Cooper thrived in that environment by playing with an unmatched level of confidence and mechanical sharpness. He pressured opponents early, took control of key areas of the map, and turned every fight into an opportunity to snowball momentum. which made him incredibly difficult to deal with over the course of the entire tournament. Cooper's rise showed that confidence and aggression were once again becoming defining traits of top players, as long as they were backed by strong fundamentals. But before I reveal the last two best Fortnite players, let me introduce Thumbnail Takeovers. Thumbnail Takeovers is my own personal project that sells high quality thumbnails for cheap. This link will be in the description, and if you're interested, check it out. But anyways, let's get into the next best players. In 2024, the greatest Fortnite player to ever be brought to the game, Peterbot, reached a level of mechanical consistency that very few players in Fortnite history had ever achieved. And watching him play felt like seeing the game pushed to its absolute limits. His editing speed, piece control, and awareness allowed him to dominate fights against other top pros while still making smart decisions in late game situations. What made Peterbot special was how effortlessly he combined mechanics with game sense, creating a playstyle that felt both aggressive and controlled at the same time. As of 2025, Peterbot is still recognized as the best Fortnite player. However, one man is slowly starting to climb up on the board. Cold. This player looks like the player who is setting the pace for everyone else, not just because of his mechanics, but because of how far ahead his decision making seems compared to the rest of the field. He adapts quickly to new metas, takes smart fights, and consistently puts himself in winning positions, which makes it feel like we're watching the start of something special rather than just a short peak. If his trajectory continues, 2025 may end up being remembered as the year Cold fully established himself as the next defining player in Fortnite history. So, will Cold catch up to Peterbot? When you line these players up year by year, you can see how Fortnite itself has evolved from a streaming-driven game to a highly competitive esport. And as of 2026, by the time this video gets released, it will almost be the end of 2025. So who do you guys think the best player will be? Each of these players represents the highest level of what mattered most during the respective year. If you enjoyed this breakdown or disagree with any of the picks, let me know in the comments, and if you want more Fortnite history content like this, make sure to subscribe. See ya.